Hi there, it's Dr. Lawrence Maas. If you've been tuning into this free methylation intro show, you'll now realize that you're actually on roundabout number 4 on the methylation wheels. We've got plants, we've got proteins, we've got liver. Now we're going to talk about brain, right? Remember from the first intro lesson that you've actually got 5-MTHF, 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. Let's put the pen on, shall we? 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. This has come from the folate cycle, which came from plants, right? And they got their folate from sunshine, right? From the sun into the plants, and from the plants it goes into the folate cycle, and this is what we need to make 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. In this sequence of genetics, what we can see is that person's carrying MTHFR. Oh, hang on, let me just turn the pen back on. MTHFR that is faulty. Look at the arrow, it's down. So if it's an amber, it's about 30-40% dysfunctional. It's not working as fast as it could. Remember that methylation reactions happen around when ideally 50 billion times every second. And that's critically important because this is going to affect our nervous system. How much serotonin we generate. Well, you have to methylate it, and everybody knows serotonin is the neurotransmitter of contentment and happiness. So we have to be able to methylate it. Well, how do we methylate it? We methylate it through this pathway here, which came from folate. So ultimately, it's the same with dopamine. Dopamine is the feel-good, reward, arousal, attention, focus neurotransmitter. How do we make more levels of dopamine, higher levels? We have to be able to methylate it. And of course, generating serotonin and dopamine comes from these proteins, tryptophan and tyrosine. And that's really, really important that you have a good, healthy source of proteins in your diet, but then you have enough plants to actually help with the transformation of that protein and be able to convert it into nice levels of serotonin, nice levels of dopamine. Now, in order to do that, you need cofactors. And if you're understanding me through the series of cofactors are where the magic is. You need your B's, you need your D's, you need your SAMEs. If you get your cofactors right, the wheels of your methylation start to work very much better. One of the top cofactors is vitamin D. And there's so many people that have chronic vitamin D deficiency. It is absolutely staggering. You know, take it from me, I've been, 30 years in the business. And the bottom line on it is you've got to get your European standards. You've got to get your vitamin D to above 200. Above 200, ladies and gentlemen, and kids and any teenagers. This is absolutely critical. The normal reference range runs anywhere between 70 and for most doctors around 249. That's medical doctors. I don't know if they're trained in that though, but I've got it as a reference. Now for integrated medicine, right, the stuff that I practice, which is scientific wellness, it runs from 124 to 200 plus. This is absolutely critical, right? So this is where you want to fit in towards the 200 mark. And this is really important because if you have a deficiency in vitamin D, you're usually going to have low dopamine. And low dopamine is usually going to compensate with craving behavior, sex, drugs, alcohol, sugar, overtraining, exercising. These are all stimulatory responses to try and make up for the lack of well-being that we naturally have when we've got nice levels of vitamin D. So vitamin D and dopamine. If you don't have enough vitamin D in your system, you can't fight viruses. And if you don't have enough long-term vitamin D in your system, it's a setup for Parkinson's disease. Yeah? So this whole dopamine relationship, sunshine makes us feel good. And liquid sunshine in the form of vitamin D will make you feel good. You've just got to get it to, what did I say? That's right, above 200 European reference range, right? So that's really, really important. Having the right levels of vitamin D will not only prevent developing Parkinson's, but it also helps to prevent cancers, heart disease, autoimmune disease, and chronic musculoskeletal pain. So very, very critical. So we need folate, we need vitamin D. We've already got B2 coming in from roundabout number 1. That's the folate roundabout. Remember, MTHFR. And we need other cofactors. Now, this is a real kind of area, this is my specialization, right? Is how do you get people to feel better? Well, one of the things to make people feel better is to balance up the serotonin and the dopamine, right? That's one, that's obvious. The other one is you've also got to be able to get that person to break down their adrenaline and their overstimulation of dopamine. And the critical area of this one is SAMe, S-adenosylmethionine. And if you've been paying attention to the lesson, this molecule, SAMe, was built on roundabout number 2, the protein roundabout. And if there's any deficiencies in production of SAMe, that person will suffer from joint pains, depression, poor liver function, low self-esteem, won't be able to power down properly at the end of the day, won't be able to sleep properly because SAMe helps us sleep properly. So this is absolutely critical. In order to get the COMT gene running faster, and you can see in this example, it's running slow, quadruple slow. That person needs to be on supplementation with SAMe to put them in a good mood, to help them break down their stimulation of dopamine and their adrenalines and their histamines and their estrogens. It all comes down to, making that COMT gene work better and that MAOB. And here's noradrenaline and adrenaline. Listen, after people have been going through a series of massive stress, you have to be able to power down. The problem is when people go through massive stress, their methylation starts to screw up. They need more B vitamins to get through the stressful event, through those rough waters. They need more D. But the truth is most people don't supplement when they go through massive stress, and so they run on empty. And when they run on empty, this is when we can get burnout. People literally will burn out from their own excessive dopamine, excessive adrenalines coming through. And in short, this is the neurotransmitter roundabout. If you really want to take charge of your brain health, you've got to be able to look at your methylation wheels, see what you inherited from your parents and your grandparents, and take the necessary cofactors, the B2, the methylfolate, the vitamin D, the SAMe, C, and copper. Those are the key cofactors to get your brain in much better shape.